All right, so our three top questions from yesterday, or from our homework assignment, not our practice problems from the 31st, sorry, about square roots were 12, 14, and 16. So I'll go over those now. Number 12. So again, first step is to isolate our square root. We see that our square root is already isolated for us. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to square both sides. So I'm going to square this here. I'm going to square p plus 1. Now the square and the square root just drop out. So I have 5p plus 19. Here, remember, p plus 1 squared is p plus 1 times p plus 1. So I have to FOIL, okay? First, outer, inner, last, all that good stuff. You'll get p squared plus 1p plus 1p plus 1, which is really p squared plus 2p plus 1. All right, now that I have a square term in here, and I want to move everything to the same side, so subtract 5p, subtract 5p, subtract 19, subtract 19, okay? So it becomes 0 equals p squared minus 3p minus 18. Okay. Now here's the, I'm going to keep going with this in a second, but here's the toughest part. All right, a common mistake is right here. All right, it's right here. This is the common mistake that messes people up. Don't forget when you square two terms like this, you square a binomial, that you have to FOIL those two things out. All right, that's the biggest mistake that people make. Okay, that's the biggest question that people have with a problem like this. From here, I just want to factor it. So I need two numbers that will multiply to negative 18 and add to negative 3. Well, that has to be 6 and 3, so p minus 6, p plus 3. So I get p equals 6 and p equals negative. Remember, we have to test for extraneous solutions. All right. So first thing I'm going to do is plug in the negative. If I plug in negative 3 here, I'll get negative 2. So that's not going to work. Oh, excuse me. That's out. If I plug in 6 here, 5 times 6 is 30. 30 plus 19 is 7. The square root of 30 plus 19 is 49. Square root of 49 is 7. And if I plug that in, it'll work on the right. So negative 3 is out. 6 is our answer. Okay? Let's look here. All right, I want to isolate my square root, but I have two square roots on the same side, so that's not isolated. I have to add this square root to the other side. All right. So I have the square root of 6 minus r equals 1 plus root 5 minus r. Excuse me. Now that our square roots are isolated on either side, okay? So when I say isolated, I mean you want to get that alone, right? I don't have the square root alone on either side. I have two square roots on one side. That's technically, you might think of that as being isolated, but I want to isolate each one individually. All right, that's another common mistake people make. Okay, isolate each one individually. So then I'm going to square both sides, and I'm going to square this. Okay, this just drops out. This is just 6 minus r. The right side's a little bit trickier. All right, we talked about this in our notes. Again, it's two terms, one term, two terms squared, which means I'm going to have to FOIL. Now this is a pain. All right, FOIL and this stuff is a pain, but we can do it because we love math. All right, so I need to distribute there. I'll get 1 plus 1. Now you don't have to write the 1 in front of the 5 minus r, but I find it helpful just for this next step. I'm going to multiply this, then multiply that. Remember, if I multiply a square root by itself, it just becomes what's ever inside the square root. And then the 6 minus r comes down. All right. So I'm going to combine my like terms on the right. I have a 1 and I have a 5. All right. I have two like terms here. Okay. So here we go. So the 6 minus r stays. And I get 6 minus r plus 2 root 5 minus r. Now these are the same, right? So these will cancel each other out, and that's okay. All right, all this stuff is going to cancel out. So now I'm going to get 0 equals 2 root 5 minus r. Now here's the deal. I can't have this 2 here, so I got to divide the 2 out as well. All right. Well, 0 divided by anything over 0 is just 0. So I get 0 equals square root of 5 minus r. Now that my square root is isolated, I can square both sides. If I square 0, I just get 0. If I square 5 minus r, I just get 5 minus r. So if I add r to the other side, r equals 5. Okay? So now I need to go back all the way up to the top to see if that works. All right? So 6 minus 5 is 1. So the square root of 1 is 1. 5 minus 5 is 0. So the square root of 0 is 0. So 1 equals 1. Well, that checks out. Boom. R is 5. Wow. That was one heck of a problem. Yikes. Here we go. All right. Let's try the next one. Okay, so here, the square roots are isolated for us, all right? Meaning that the square roots are on either side of the equal sign. Okay, they're by themselves. This square root is by itself, and this square root is technically by itself, even though the 3 is here. So, I'm going to square both sides immediately. Now, so this just becomes 10 minus n, right? Remember, if I have a binomial, here's one square, here's one term, here's one term. I have to write it out. I have to FOIL this puppy. Okay, just like that. Okay. Now to FOIL this puppy, we know how to FOIL this puppy. This puppy, we are going to FOIL it. So let's FOIL this puppy. So here we go. Plus this puppy being FOILed. Wow. Wow. That's an n, sorry. And then remember, if I multiply something that's by itself that's in the square root, the square root drops out, whatever is inside is left over. There you go. Whew. Combine my like terms on the right. I have 9 and I have negative 5. This and this go together as well. So 10 minus n stays the same. 9 and negative 5 gives me 4 minus n plus 6 square negative 5 minus n. Alright? Move the 4 over, move the n over. Here we go. Subtract the 4. I get 6. Add the n. These cancel out. So I get 6 equals 6 root negative 5 minus n. Wow, we are almost done. Divide the 6. Divide the 6. So I get 1 equals square root negative 5 minus n. We're so close. Here we go. Square both sides. 1 equals negative 5 minus n. Add the 5. 6 equals negative n, but I just want positive. So n equals negative 6. Uh-oh. Negative. Let's go back and see if it works. Here we go. Wow. All right, so 10 minus negative 6 is going to be 16, right? How about this? Here's what I'm going to do. Ready? Let's get techie with it. I'm going to copy. And paste. All right, so 10 minus negative 6, 10 minus negative 6 plus gives me root 16 on the left. And this is negative 5 minus negative 6. Big plus gives me 3 plus root 1. Uh-oh. This might actually work. 4. Square root of 1 is 1. 4. Holy buckets. It checks out. A negative answer works. Wow, to touch face. I get negative 6. There it is. All right, those are the 3 questions. Hopefully those helped out a little bit. I'll just say this. This is a definite challenge problem. All right. These 2 are definite challenges, but this is something you could definitely see on an assessment. All right. When we take our first assessment, when we take our chapter or unit 3 assessment, this problem is totally fair game. Okay. Hopefully that helped out. Let me know if it didn't.